the Sustainable Development Goals have been developed essentially by bankers. You could describe it, or I would describe it, as a global Wall Street coup, essentially. Well, not necessarily Wall Street, but transnational finance. I mean, you have people like Mark Carney, former Goldman Sachs, former head of Bank of England, Bank of Canada, Financial Stability Board, the aider and abettor of HSBC's money laundering for drug cartels. He's the person that's in charge of climate action for the United Nations. Their other point man is Mike Bloomberg, former Salomon Brothers, former mayor of New York, billionaire guy. And if you think these people care about the environment and sustainable development and building a more inclusive world, I'm sorry, but you have been had. Larry Fink is in this group too, and to think that he wants to make a more inclusive world is insane. He's interested in increasing the amount of assets that BlackRock manages, and pretty much only that. So these are the people that are essentially behind a lot of the net zero plans, behind a lot of the other SDG plans that essentially move us from the model, the free market capitalist model into more this technocratic model where, every commodity, everything is going to be tokenized. And you've seen Larry Fink in the past couple of days be very open about that, following the approval of BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, for example, talking about the tokenization revolution and all of this. But there's an effort here to take this, much farther than it's ever been taken before, and to essentially just not just tokenize, existing assets or traditional assets, but also create new asset classes like natural assets, all these natural asset corporations that have sort of been in the news lately and have sort of, received some pushback, but there's definitely a lot of efforts underway to essentially tokenize the whole planet, increase the amount of assets in the existing economy by being like, now this lake is an asset, now this nature and humans will be tokenized and traded like financial products. And that's essentially what a lot of this is leading to. And you have most of the countries on the world, those that are pursuing Agenda 2030, essentially leading us into that. And so, at some level, I think the geopolitical push and pull between, BRICS and the West is real. But I think, at the higher levels, they ultimately agree on the goals. So I don't really think one is necessarily a true effective challenge to the other. And if you're against the ambitions of the SDGs and Agenda 2030, then you should be against them regardless of if they're being championed by Russia and China or the United States and the EU. Ultimately, it leads us to the same place, which is going to financialize and tokenize everything, but also surveil everything to an unprecedented extent. And increasingly uses, debt slavery. Mark Carney and Fink and all of these guys, under the auspices of the UN, talked about reimagining the World Bank and the IMF, all the multilateral development banks, for the purpose of basically using debt to finance the SDGs and doing all these things like debt for climate swaps, debt for nature swaps, which are essentially, land grabs and all sorts of things, framing it as, necessary to save the planet. And maybe that justification works for the left, but I think it would be naive to assume that they aren't going to retool the talking points to appeal to the right. I think that's definitely going to be happening. And if you look at Fink himself, he's tried to go away from being the point man for ESG and all of this towards a guy that's saying, like, look how profitable this is going to be for us, and you can have a part of the riches by tokenizing your land and putting it on this platform where it can be traded and whatever. Like, you can have a piece of all this wealth and whatever.
There's a lot of opportunity. It is a great store, and this is where you can debate. Is it a good store?
Do you know how it's made? A bunch of computers figure out.
But the issue is if people believe that it can be an asset that can be crossed border. And let's be clear, if you're in a country where you're fearful of your government, and maybe this is one of the reasons why China has banned it. If you're in a government where if you're in a country where you're fearful of your future, fearful of your government, or you're frightened that your government is devaluing its currency by too much deficits,
like us.
I'm not going to go there.
The little elf in the room.
Yeah. You could say this is a great potential long-term store of value. And as I said, it's like digital gold. And I believe,
but you still can't buy a slice of pizza with it. Isn't that kind of odd that we're...
But you can't buy a price of pizza with palladium or gold.
No, but there you can do stuff with them. I can get stuff with... I mean, people use gold for stuff, right?
But
Gold's-
you could buy and sell your Bitcoin, no different than gold. So it is very...
What is it? But gold is put in, like...
Jewelry.
And you know, iPhones, I think there's in some electronics, there's gold.
More silver and
Silver.
nickel.
But you see what I'm saying? There are practical uses. Bitcoin, it's literally a ledger.
It is a ledger, but it's an international ledger. It's cross-border. It's bigger than any government.
I agree with you. It would have blown up, I believe, in FTX, and it didn't.
Come back to Crash and Eddie. I'm Eddie. Crash is not with us today again. So we're gonna talk. You guys are such a bunch of crypto degens. It's kind of unbelievable. That flare video you guys really liked, so I'm actually gonna do a little bit of a follow-up because I got some really good feedback from you guys, so thank you for that. And you know, together as a unit, as a community, we can answer some questions that even I might have. So pretty cool. Not that I'm a crypto expert by any means, but anyways, hit the like and subscribe. This is not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. Don't forget that. Do your own research. Take it upon yourself to take advantage of all the opportunities out there. It's crazy. They're there for the take. And anyways, today we are going to talk about the mothership known as Bitcoin. You guys love it. I'm not a maxi. Some of you may or may not be. Probably in this audience are not. But regardless, it runs the crypto space. So when it goes through winter, we all seem to go through winter, at least for now. Is that always going to be the case? Probably not. That doesn't seem realistic. No technology in the history of mankind has ever done that. So that's kind of my thing with Bitcoin. I grew up in the tech space, grew up in fintech with a company known as TD Ameritrade. And so yeah, sorry for that little interruption. So here's the current price of Bitcoin, 73,364. I don't do price predictions. To me, this space is more than number go up or number go down. So, and I think it's important to understand what's going on big picture. That's why I love me some Whitney Webb, and Larry Boy is pretty funny. You know, this is the same guy that absolutely said, you know, Bitcoin is nothing and wasn't a believer. And what do you know now? Oh, it's so important. Absolutely. He is controlled and manipulated, like many of them. There's people pulling strings. That's all I can say. But, so, the ETF with Bitcoin, obviously it's huge for the price. The maxis are ecstatic. You know, and this could go on for, I mean, honestly, there's a confluence of many factors now with Bitcoin. And, you know, you have the ETF, you have all the stuff going on with the G. You got, you know, the Federal Reserve. They're going to be dealing with this stuff sooner or later. Although, you know, inflation. It's going to be really interesting watching them get out of this, because inflation is just rampant. I mean, every place you go, stuff is just shrinking and getting more expensive. You know, it's either shrinkflation or it's all out inflation. So amazing times we're in. And you know, the maxis, you'll notice they are all about Bitcoin is the asset class. And I take it you and I both know that's a joke. The asset class is crypto. They have to make Bitcoin look like it is the end-all, be-all. And my thing is, you know, love Bitcoin, you know, and it does control a lot. And it is the mothership, you know, it is the alpha asset. But do I think it'll get passed up one day in market cap? Absolutely. No question about it to me. Because again, it's a technology, and there's better technologies happening right now. And we'll talk about some of those up and coming, you know, and why they're better. And, you know, they position Bitcoin this way so that they can control the masses. That's what this is about. And now they got it right into a little cage, a good little cage that is called an ETF. And they already are. BlackRock is now officially, as of a couple days ago, the largest single holder of Bitcoin other than Satoshi's wallet of 1 million Bitcoin. And it happened, you know, what are we, 6 weeks into this? So, I mean, it's amazing what they've done. And we'll talk about this further, but, you know, do you think that, let me pose these questions to you. Do you think that they're going to run out a bunch of other ETFs next week and make sure that all crypto is going to ETFs? Or do you think it's going to take a good long time and they're going to milk this Bitcoin ETF for all it's worth? Meanwhile, you know, it's the only one. And guess what they're doing right now? Do you think they do have to buy Bitcoin in the spot, apparently, for this ETF, right? But do you think they might be loading up their bags with other important digital assets? Do you think the institutions might be doing that? The big financial institutions they're going to be into these ETFs. Do you think behind the scenes they might be doing that a little bit? 'Cause I do. So you got to play the game, people. And should you have exposure to Bitcoin? Should I? Absolutely. Do I? A little bit. You know, but the bottom line is the crypto bull market has started. Your money was made a year and a half ago, 6 months ago. Can you still make money? Sure we can. But, you know, the important buying was already done. Hopefully you guys already did that. Now, there's still important stuff to be done, important work to be done with digital assets, because look at where the world's headed. You can either play the game or not be involved, and then they'll suck you in. You know, you'll be all over a CBDC. You'll go about it that way with that crypto, quote unquote. That's not really a crypto. Won't really be a crypto. But it'll move on a crypto backbone, or several, or many. That's what'll happen with that. And all tokenization of all assets. It's all going to blockchain. So should we be involved with blockchain? Yes. Get involved. Start thinking about what you're doing, because this isn't going away. They're not going to let it go away. They need it. You see what's going on. I mean, how are you going to get out of the massive amounts of debt? we're going to tokenize everything so that, oh, look at all these assets. Suddenly our debt versus assets, it's nothing. Well, what's 35 trillion when you have so many quadrillions in assets? You know, when you're going to I wonder what Lake Michigan will be tokenized to. I wonder how valuable that resource is. I wonder what the oceans are worth. Who owns them, really? Right? So, I mean, the shenanigans just do not end. So, I don't know. That's how I look at Bitcoin. Where it's going, I mean, this is a cycle like we've never seen. So, you know, I see Bitcoin just relentless, and I see some alts, you know, basically all the alts are off the deep value. We talked about that. But, you know, they haven't really moved, you know. So now what's supposed to happen is Bitcoin is, according to many people out there, Bitcoin is going to have a big breather or a blow off top, quote unquote. And then all of a sudden, the alts are going to just blow up and just start taking off and running. And that's what's happened in the past. Does the past necessarily, you know, mean that that's going to be the future? No, it doesn't. So we'll see what's going to happen. My take is they're all going to have value. Being the quality tokens, the quality digital assets that are going to be used, whether it's store of value, whether it's currency, whether it's logistics, or all the other use cases that are out there. If it's legit and they're solving a problem, then it's going to be extremely valuable. It's going to be extremely valuable. All stocks are going to be tokenized. You know, any financial product's going to be tokenized, and none of it is done yet. So, and it's going to take a lot to do it, a lot of liquidity and value to do that, and that means number must go up. So that's the bright side of it. But the downside of it, the sad side for Bitcoin, is it's been captured. And now, you know, that's how the US decided to deal with it. You know what, guys? Guess what? We're just going to capture it by the company that we have complete control of. It's basically an arm of the G, is BlackRock. So here, you guys go out there, and it's called regulatory capture. That's what they've done. And that's why they had to slow down these other assets like Ethereum and XRP and anything else out there. So make it the Bitcoin show. Capture it. Make sure that all the big money gets into it via an ETF that we completely control. And then we'll move on from there. Put that risk aside. We now own and control that. And the maxis are happy. Anyone that's got Bitcoin is happy. Great. It's all great. You know, but the whole premise of what Bitcoin was supposed to do is out the window. It's out the window. And, you know, they really, for good or bad, that's part of the game, is controlling these assets and making sure that, you know, they're in the right hands, and making sure that most people are scared to death of them. Do not touch this highly volatile, highly risky asset. Don't do it. It's scary. Don't do it until we tell you it's safe. The water's warm. Come on in. We got you covered. It's insured. It's covered. Use an ETF. That's the way you do it. That's what smart people do. It's too risky to hold it on your own. You know, that's the game. So know it and adapt to it. You know, maybe you want to play that game. Maybe you don't. maybe you do with some of your assets, maybe you don't. You know, but the key is to know about it, understand what's really going on, and adapt to it like humans do. You know, like you're supposed to. You're not supposed to just be a sheep walking around. Okay, it's too risky. Put my money into a CD. You know what I mean? So, that's it, people. That's kind of my take on Bitcoin. Really appreciate the feedback on the last video. What's Bitcoin's price gonna be? You know, I definitely see hundreds. You know, when? I don't know, you know. Is this bull run gonna be different than the other ones? It already seems like it is. So, Bitcoin's never hit highs like this before the halving, which is coming up in about 35 days. So, and then we'll see. Is it going to be sell the news? Maybe, but I think it'll probably be pretty quick if that's the case. Because now there's so much demand for Bitcoin, it's not going to be met anytime soon. I mean, now the big money's just starting to come in. It's just started. I mean, this is the ETFs. This is the individual ETFs with registered investment advisors that are just getting their head around this. I mean, I know people in the space. They don't have a clue, man. They don't even get it. So this is a long trend, decades. This is going to go on for the next 10, 20 years. Is it going to be up and down? Absolutely. But probably more up than down. And if you want to get into it, if you want to adapt, now's the time. I mean, you can wait, you can try and time it, do all that stuff, but you know, I'm looking at particular assets that are going to be important in the future and taking advantage of it. You know, because these prices, I've always said pennies will become dollars. And they've waved this right in front of you for years. Here it is, guys. Here's a bunch of stuff that's pennies. You can absolutely load up on it. You literally could have gone to a website with XRP and just taken. They literally gave away. You could have taken 200 million XRP and just, okay, I'll just do it. You know, they gave it away. And they're doing it with most cryptos. Look at Flare. I mean, it's just a giant gift to the XRP community for hanging out, for putting up with the BS that they know that all of us put up with. Here's a little something that's going to be worth millions and is going to pay out twice a week for the foreseeable future. I mean, run the numbers on any of this stuff. It's all here for the taking. And all they can do is try and scare the living hell out of the public for this stuff. So here's the gift, but oh, don't touch it. It's so scary. Don't do it. You know, that's the game, people. Know it, adapt to it, and thrive. Because it's all there for the taking. There's an absolute ton of opportunity out there. All you have to do is not be too scared to seize it, because this is what it's going to do. There's going to be ups and downs, but pretty much could have had it here at 5 cents, and the rest is history. You know, this is why buy and hold. This is why it's literally dangerous to sell stuff. Sure, enjoy your profits. Oh, I tripled my money, I quadrupled. You never lose money taking profits, right? Think long and hard, people. Think long and hard, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And that's it, you know? So hit the like and subscribe, people. Send this video far and wide, because really, you guys know all this stuff. I'm pretty much preaching to the choir, right? So, but there's a bunch of people out there that are scared to death. And they don't know what to do with any of it. So, And they're probably not going to be able to open up a BlackRock account. Just my 2 cents. They probably won't be able to. So they need help. Help them in any way that you can. So, all right, people, have a great day. I said I wasn't going to make a bunch of videos. We got a lot of stuff to cover. We're just getting going. I'm going to make them when I can and get you guys as informed as I can. Your job is hitting the like, hitting the subscribe, and getting the word out. Send it out to whoever. And we'll keep this going, people. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of fun to have, a lot of opportunity to take advantage of it. So don't forget, God helps those who help themselves. Talk to you soon. Crash and Eddie. This is Eddie out.